थोड़ा प्रार्थना करिए। थोड़ा जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी 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 जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय यशोदानंदन जय ब्रज जनरंजन जय यशोदानंदन जय जय यशोदानंदन जय ब्रज जनरंजन जय यशोदानंदन जय ब्रज जनरंजन जय यमुना तीरवनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय यमुना तीरवनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय यमुना तीरवनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा गोपीनाथ राधा गोपीनाथ राधे गोपीनाथ राधे जय श्री गोपाल श्री गोपाल जय श्री गोपाल जय गौरनिताय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय गौर प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। Hare Krishna. So we would like to welcome everyone for today's Bhagavatam class. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 9, entitled Answers by Citing the Lord's Version. Text 23. Pratyadishtam maya tatra Pratyadishtam maya tatra Tvai karma vimohite Tvai karma vimohite Tapo me hridayam sakshat Tapo me hridayam sakshat Atmaham tapason naga Atmaham tapaso naga Pratyadishtam maya tatra Tvai karma vimohite Tapo me hridayam sakshat Atmaham tapaso naga Satyadishtam maya tatra Tvai karma vimohite Tapo me hridayam sakshat Atmaham tapaso naga Tatra Tvai karma vimohite Tapo me hridayam sakshat Pratyadishtam maya tatra Tvai karma vimohite Tapo me hridayam sakshat Atmaham tapanonga. Mataji's Pratyadishtam maya tatra O me hridayam sakshat Atmaham tapaso naga Pratyadishtam maya tatra Tvai karma vimohite O me hridayam sakshat Atmaham tapaso naga Word to word meaning. Pratyadishtam, ordered, maya, by me, tatra, because of, tvai, unto you, karma, duty, vimohite, being perplexed, tapaha, penance, me, hridayam, heart, sakshat, directly, atma, life and soul, aham, myself, tapasaha, of one who is engaged in penance, anagaha, O sinless one. Translation. O sinless Brahma, you may know from me that it was I who first ordered you to undergo penance when you were perplexed in your duty. Such penance is my heart and soul, and therefore penance and I are non-different. Purport. The penance by which, purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The penance by which one can see the personality of Godhead face to face is to be understood as devotional service to the Lord and nothing else, because only by discharging devotional service in transcendental love can one approach the Lord. Such penance is the internal potency of the Lord and is non-different from Him. Such acts of internal potency are exhibited by non-attachment for material enjoyment. The living entities are engaged in the conditions of material bondage because of their propensity for overlordship. But by engagement in devotional service of the Lord, one becomes detached from this enjoying spirit. The devotees automatically become detached from worldly enjoyment, and this detachment is the result of perfect knowledge. Therefore, the penance of devotional service includes knowledge and detachment, and that is the manifestation of the transcendental potency. One cannot enjoy material illusory propensity if he desires to return home back to Godhead. One who has no information of the transcendental bliss in the association of the Lord foolishly desires to enjoy this temporary material happiness. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said that if someone sincerely wants to see the Lord and at the same time wants to enjoy this material world, he is considered to be a fool only. One who wants to remain here in the material world for material enjoyment has no business entering into the eternal kingdom of God. The Lord favors such a foolish devotee by snatching all that he may possess in the material world. If such a foolish devotee of the Lord tries to recoup his position, then the merciful Lord again snatches away all he may have possessed. By such repeated failures in material prosperity, he becomes very unpopular with his family members and friends. In this material world, the family members and friends honor persons who are very successful in accumulating wealth by any means. The foolish devotee of the Lord is thus put into forcible penance by the grace of the Lord, and at the end, the devotee becomes perfectly happy, being engaged in the service of the Lord. Therefore, penance in devotional service of the Lord, either by voluntary submission or being forced by the Lord, is necessary for attaining perfection, and thus such penance is the internal potency of the Lord. One cannot, however, be engaged in the penance of devotional service without being completely free from all sins. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, only a person who is completely free from all reactions of sins can engage himself in the worship of the Lord. Brahmaji was sinless, and therefore he faithfully discharged the advice of the Lord tapa, tapa. And the Lord, being satisfied with him, awarded him with the desired result. Therefore, only love and penance combined can please the Lord, and thus one is able to attain his complete mercy. He directs the sinless, and the sinless devotee attains the highest perfection of life. So very wonderful purport. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So I would like to seek the blessings of all devotees present here, physically as well as online, so I may be able to speak something for my own purification and for the pleasure of all devotees. Today's verse is so very important, and in the purport Prabhupada is explaining how the interaction is there between the Supreme Lord and his devotee, how he directs him through all the thick and thin of life. So, as the translation says, the Lord is saying, O sinless Brahma, you may know from me that it was I who first ordered you to undergo the penance when you were perplexed in your duty. Tvai karma vimohite. So whenever someone, we can learn from here that in our discharge of our duties or in our day-to-day life, whenever we are perplexed, if we follow the instructions of the Lord, engage in remembering Him, in chanting His holy names, then we can actually come out of any perplexity in our life. And Lord Himself is saying over here that such penance is my heart and soul. Means the Lord is saying, I am the soul of such austerity. Atmaham tapaso naga. So even in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says that tapaschasmi tapasvishu. Like he says, punyogandham prithivyaamscha tejaschasmi vibhavasho jivanam sarva bhuteshu tapaschasmi tapasvishu. That I am the fragrance of the earth. Like we have the onset of monsoon, and as soon as the first rain comes, then we get this fragrance of the earth. And it's so soothing and so satisfying. So Krishna is saying that I am that fragrance of the earth, and I am the heat of fire. Fire is heat is something which is very internal to the fire, and I am the life of all that lives, and I am the penance of the ascetics. So Krishna is expressing that such penance which is performed with the desire or with the intention of achieving his service and being able to do his service nicely, such penance is none but Krishna himself. And he says that he is confirming to Brahmaji that the word which he, actually when Brahmaji came into existence, he heard the sound. Actually, he was able to see only darkness everywhere. And it is explained that in Brahma Samhita, that how when Brahmaji, he was born on the lotus which appears from the navel of Lord Vishnu. At that time, he was perplexed and he was not able to understand what he is to do, how he has to achieve, because it is explained in Brahma Samhita itself that because of his past previous experience, he was internally he was knowing that he has to do the creation, but he was not knowing what to do, how to do it, because everywhere there was only darkness. And in such a situation, he hears the voice or the two syllables, tapa and tapa. And after hearing that, he actually he starts meditation upon the Lord. And it is explained that through the flute of Lord, he actually hears the Kama Gayatri mantra. And then he meditates upon that. So we can see, as Prabhupada is explaining over here, that such a penance which Brahmaji is performing over here is nothing but devotional service. He is saying the penance by which one can see the personality of Godhead, because penance can be of various types. Like day before yesterday, Radha Gopinath Prabhu so beautifully explained about what tapasya means, what are the different meanings of tapasya. Tapasya in the mode of goodness, in the mode of passion, in the mode of ignorance. Different types of tapasya. And but here we can see, sometimes whenever we say, talk about tapasya, what comes to our mind is, okay, doing meditation or performing some yoga or breathing pranayam and all like that. But here, Prabhupada is clarifying that the penance by the goal what Brahmaji has been able to achieve, we can understand the penance which was performed by him was nothing but devotional service. Because one can achieve the darshan and the association of the Lord only by discharging devotional service in transcendental love of the Lord. As it is explained by Lord Krishna himself in Bhagavad Gita, Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yaschasmi tatvatah tato mam tatvato gyatva vishate tadanantaram. One can understand me as I am, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only by devotional service. And when one is fully conscious of me, by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. And like we heard the other day, that after this meditation, Brahmaji, he got direct darshan of the Vaikuntha and along with the residents over there, and ultimately he got to have the darshan of the lotus feet of the Lord, and he actually offered obeisances. And in reciprocation and to encourage him, the Supreme Lord shook hands with him. So, such an association, so we can see that such a thing is possible only when one performs devotional service with the greatest amount of sincerity. So, Prabhupada explains in the purport that one cannot understand about the Supreme God, Krishna, or his plenary portions by any amount of mental speculation or by the non-devotees. If anyone wants to understand Supreme Personality, he has to take to the process of pure devotional service under the guidance of a pure devotee. And like in Bhagavad Gita, it is also explained that Naham Prakasha Sarvasya Yogamaya. So, he is not revealed to each and everyone. One can actually not understand even by erudite scholarship or mental speculation. Only when one is actually engaged in Krishna consciousness and devotional service, one can understand Krishna. So, we can see that when one engages in devotional service, and at the same time, if somebody has a tinge of a desire to enjoy material sense gratification, and if he tries to lord it over here, like it's explained in today's purport, so then what does Krishna do? How does he deal with in such a case? So it's explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita that if someone sincerely wants to see the Lord and at the same time he wants to enjoy in this material world, he is considered as a fool. It said, Krishna kahe ama bhaje mange vishay sukh, amrita chhadi vishay mange ei bada murkh. A person who knows that the ultimate goal of life is to achieve the lotus feet of the Lord, and yet he is engaged in material enjoyment, he is a murkha. And Krishna says that, Ami vigya ehi murkhe vishay ke nadiba, swa charanamrita diya vishay bhulaiba. He says, this person may be a fool, but I am intelligent. So why should I just make him more bound by giving him more sense gratification? I will give him my Swacharanamrit and Vishaya Bhulaiba. And by this process, he can actually get detached from material sense enjoyment and forget the material attractions. So, we can see that Srila Prabhupada is referring to one shloka from Srimad Bhagavatam, which he has often quoted, that yasyaham anughrannami harishye tad dhanam shanai. That when Krishna bestows his special mercy upon his devotee, at times he takes away his material opulences so that he can completely surrender to the Lord. In fact, once Yudhishthir Maharaj, he had a doubt, and he asked the Lord that why is it that your devotees or the devotees of Lord Vishnu, they are actually, Vishnu is the Lord of Lakshmi Devi, he is Lakshmipati. But your devotees, they are, many a times they are seen that mostly they are very poor or downtrodden. Why is that so? Whereas Lord Shiva, who externally he seems like an ascetic sadhu, but devotees of Lord Shiva, they are very materially well established or very opulent. So then in reply, Krishna actually says this, that when I show special favor to my devotees, I take away their material opulences. So the Lord, in order to show special favor, he destroys the so-called economic development and material opulences, and the devotee, being frustrated by his repeated attempts at economic development, ultimately takes shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. And this is sometimes, it is accepted as Isha Vidvam Sita Shisham, that the Lord destroys one's material opulence. At the same time, He enriches one's spiritual understanding. So, both are there. One is that he faces economic hardships, but at the same time, his spiritual understanding increases. And we can see that one of the very startling examples of this, as given in Srimad Bhagavatam, is that of Bali Maharaj. So, Bali Maharaj, he was a very great devotee of the Lord, and yet he had the desire to have a great controlling nature, power, and he wanted to have his power extended over the entire creation. And in such a situation, when Vaman Dev, he appears over there, and he, through his own trick, he actually takes over everything of Bali Maharaj. And then, at the same time, he becomes Bali Maharaj's doorkeeper. So, in the material world, as Prabhupada is explaining, many a times, our assessment of a person, the success of a person is considered that, okay, if he is able to handle his family matters, if he is able to maintain a wife and children and all very nicely, very opulently, then such a person is considered successful. But here we can see that actually the success of a person's human being is when he is actually able to understand the existence of the Lord and his relationship with the Lord. So, penance over here is actually devotional service of the Lord, which we either accept voluntarily or we are forced to accept by the Lord. And whichever way, it is necessary for our own purification and for attaining perfection. And here the Lord is explaining that such a penance is actually Lord himself. Even once, like Yudhishthir Maharaj was asked in the Yaksha Prashna, that what actually means tapasya. So, he replies that tapasya means actually to practice one's swadharma. So, to practice one's swadharma itself is tapasya. And it means that one has to be true to one's own responsibilities, like Shreyan Swadharmo Viguna. So, here swadharma, swa means it can refer to both our body as well as our atma. So, all our duties with respect to our body is also swadharma. At the same time, we also need to fulfill our duties towards our atma and reconnect it with the Lord. So, as Radha Gopinath Prabhu was also mentioning the other day about the definition of tapasya as per Narad Bhakti Sutra, which summarizes the purpose of tapasya. He says that Aradhito yadi hari tapasadati kim, na aradhito yadi hari tapasa tathak kim. Antar bahir yadi hari tapasa tathak kim, na antar bahir yadi hari tapasa tathak kim. So, he says, if one is worshipping, aradhito, if he is worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then what is the use of any other severe penances? There is no need for that. At the same time, if one does not ultimately worship the Lord, then what is the use of any penance? It becomes futile. If one is able to understand the existence of the Lord everywhere, antar bahir yadi hari, then there is no need to do any penance further, because that is the sar of all knowledge. And if one does not understand this, na antar bahir yadi haris, then performing any type of penance is actually futile. So, the essence of all penance is actually to understand the Supreme Lord. And a similar thing is also conveyed by King Kulashekar in his Mukundmala Stotram. He says, Amnyaya bhyasananti aranyaruditam vedavratan nyanvaham medas cheda falani purata vidyaya sarve hutam bhasmani tirtha nama vaghanani cha gajasnanam vinyatpada dvandvam bhoruha samsmritir vijayate devaha svanarayana. So he says that without remembering the lotus feet of Lord Narayana, recitation of scripture is merely crying in the wilderness. Means you are going to a forest and you are shouting, nobody is going to hear you. So if we are not able to dedicate our life to Lord Narayana, then chanting of all the scriptures is just like crying in the forest. And observance of serious vows enjoined in the Vedas is no more than a way to lose weight. If you are performing austerity, but meda chedan, it's only exercise, means there won't be any other benefit for that. And execution of prescribed pious duties is like pouring oblations onto ashes. If we pour ghee on ash, it's not going to give any fire or heat or light. So it's just waste of ghee. So similarly, if one performs the pious duties, but he does not ultimately dedicate it to Lord Narayana, it is only oblations, pouring ghee on to ashes. And bathing at various places, at holy sites, when we go to Dham and we go and take bath, but if we do not ultimately dedicate to Sri Narayan, then it is just like an elephant's bath. Kunjara Shauchavad. Means the elephant takes bath and then again he puts dirt upon himself. So the purpose of all types of tapasya is actually to dedicate or to serve the Supreme Lord and love Him. And Prabhupada ji in the purport, he continues to say that one cannot engage in such penance of devotional service without being completely free from all sins. To be engaged in devotional service, one has to become free from all sins. And as it is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, that yesham tu antagatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante mam dridhavrata. So if we have to become firm in devotional service, it is very important that we have to become sinless. And so this process, the beauty of devotional service is that both the process as well as the end are the same. Means engaging in devotional service, eventually to serve the Supreme Lord in the spiritual world or wherever He places us. So here we can see that Brahmaji is addressed as Anaga. Anaga means sinless. So because Brahmaji is sinless, so he has been able to faithfully discharge the advice which was given to him by the Lord of doing tapasya. And therefore, we can see that when a devotee is actually engaged in devotional service with love, then he can actually please the Lord and obtain His complete mercy. So, even from the life of Srila Prabhupada, we can see that how the Supreme Lord, He actually directed him in his lifetime, through the thick and thin of life. And Prabhupada ji, very honestly and very humbly, he is expressing over here that how the Lord, He snatches away the material possessions repeatedly to ensure that His devotee completely surrenders to Him. Yasyaham anugrinnami harishye tad dhanam shanai. So, we can see, as we all know, how Prabhupada, he came in touch with his spiritual master, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, in Kolkata, in Ulta Danga. And he was in touch with him and almost for 11 years. And in 1932, there was this Vrindavan Yatra organized by the Gaudiya Math in Kartik. And at that time, Abhay Charan, he wanted to join the yatra, and his sole purpose was to hear from his spiritual master, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And many a times Prabhupada would say, Abhay Charan, that he would not understand what Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was talking. Sometimes it was technical, but yet with full faith he would listen to him and keep hearing. And later on, in November 1932, in Prayag, at that time, Prabhupada was staying in Prayag, having his own business, and Bhakti Pradeep Tirth Maharaj and Atulanand Brahmachari, they actually recommended Srila Prabhupada's name to, Abhay Charan's name to Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, saying that he's one of the very sincere devotees over here, and he's been contributing for the creation of this temple over here. He's been one of the greatest fundraiser, like that, and serving in this temple, in this center over here. And he would like to take initiation from you tomorrow. So will you give him Diksha? So at that point of time, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he responded, he said, yes, I know him. He likes to hear and he does not go away. So he was referring, because just a month back, in the Kartik month, he had seen that when, as part of the yatra, it was announced that the devotees will be going for darshan to Sheshashai and in Mathura, and there will also be katha by his spiritual master, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Srila Prabhupada, many of the devotees, they actually went for darshan. But Srila Prabhupada, he stayed back to listen to his spiritual master. And that time the class was for over 5 hours. And many devotees in between, they left because they had different services. But Prabhupada remained seated and focusedly he listened. And this was what struck Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And here, he did not so much notice that his services of fundraising and creation of the temple, but he noticed his desire to hear sincerely from his spiritual master, which is actually the foundational principle of devotional service. So, he was given the name Abhay Charana Das, and he was also instructed at that time by his spiritual master to read Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So, after initiation now, Prabhupada's, Abhay Charan's life totally changes. And although he had got married, his wife was not ready to, she actually refused to get initiated and as she was not so much interested. Although Abhay Charan was very disappointed, but at the same time, just receiving initiation from his spiritual master, he was very enthusiastic and to spread the message of the Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And at the same time, as a responsible grahastha, he was not ready to shy away from his family responsibilities. But then later, Krishna's plans were going to unfold in a very inconceivable manner. Like I was here a few years back, I think 2021 Janmashtami, Vraj Bihari Prabhu gave a very vivid description of how the various challenges Srila Prabhupada encountered in his life after that. So he was at that time working along with Dr. Bose, who was his friend of his father, Gaur Mohan, and had given him in charge of the whole of North India, of his pharmaceutical business. And he was getting a salary of 3,000 per month, 3,500 per month, and with his headquarters at Allahabad. He used to have a car for himself. At that year, in say 1930s, to get salary of 3,500 is really mind-boggling. In the sense, I remember when I started my articleship in CA, our monthly stipend was rupees 200. So, as compared to that, getting 3,500 per month, and he was really very well placed. But suddenly, inexplicably, Dr. Bose, who was the employer, he starts to get reports of some payment defaults by Abhay Charan. Das. And slowly the amount went up to almost like 10,000. And he was not able to collect the dues. So Dr. Bose, being knowing very well that Abhay Charan was not from a very good family, he was, and so he started an investigation, and he comes to the conclusion that actually Abhay Charan is innocent, but yet because of the business practices, he was not able to extend credit anymore to him. And overnight, Abhay Charan actually lost his job. Although he had his savings but the safety of a stable job, assured job in a grahast ashram is so very important for everyone. And so his first attempt to have financial stability in his family, it actually crumbled down. And now he had to start a new career and a new business. So when he used to interact with Atulanand Brahmachari, so Atulanand Brahmachari, he actually encouraged him. He said that, this is actually Krishna's arrangement, that your work is deteriorating, you're not able to. So better you join full-time temple. But then Abhay Charan, as a responsible Garastha, he said, no, I have family responsibilities. I have 3 children. So I will have to take care of them. So that is my responsibility. And so he actually came to Mumbai, to Bombay rather. At that time, and he would stay near Gwalior Tank, and which is not very far from where we are now. And he joined Smithson Lab. And here again, he was working, but inconceivably, from day one, there was politics in the office, and he was actually forced to leave that job also, along with Smithson. And he had to quit again and start his own business. So he would come many a times to Grant Road over here, and there was a Gaudiya Mutt over here at that time, very near Agast Kranti Maidan. And so the second attempt for having financial stability and to take care of his family, children, and also support the mission of his guru, that again failed. So, but this did not deter his preaching enthusiasm. He continued to preach vigorously, and because he was under the purview of his internal energy of the Supreme Lord, he continued. So this was the first time when he actually came across this verse called Yasyaham Anugrihnani Dharishyet Dattanam Shanai. And he showed it to His Holiness Bhakti Pradeep Maharaj and Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, and said that, is it that this is connected in any way to my own life, or is it hinting to me what is happening to me in my life, personal life? And Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, he said, yes, 100% this is applicable to you. You are that special chosen person. So, who is going to do such great service? In fact, the other day during Rath Yatra at Jagannath Puri, the commentator was mentioning the name of Abhay Charanarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who actually took the holy name of the Lord, the Sankirtan, throughout the world. And we have Rath Yatras. They were mentioning that how Rath Yatra is happening in almost all the major towns and cities of the world today, just by the efforts of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So he continued to make his business strong, and in the next 4 years, he met his guru 12 times. And in one of the appearance days of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he wrote that very beautiful poem, Absolute is sentient, thou hast proved, impersonal calamity thou hast removed. And this actually made Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur so happy that he said anything he writes, you can publish it. So meanwhile, some devotees, they went to Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur and told that Abhay Charan, his business is dwindling, it has collapsed, and he's struggling anyway. And at the same time, he is serving in the center so much, he's taking care of all the finances and contribution, and even also he's doing so much of preaching. So why don't you ask him to become the temple president over here and take over, and we will assist him in his service. But then Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he said that when the time will come, he will do everything. For now, let him continue. And so, in January 1937, when Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he left this world, it was a great spiritual loss for Abhay Charan and Das. And he had nothing left. So, yet, again, because his business collapsed here the second time in Bombay, then next in 1938, he shifted again back to Kolkata. And he made a major investment. So the first business he tried in Prayag, second in Mumbai, and now the third innings he was trying in Kolkata. He established a big factory to produce medicines, but again the problem started from the beginning, from day one, because his family was not happy, they were objecting, and as for the preaching efforts, he was not getting paper, and the Gaudiya Math also, after the passing away of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the Gaudiya Math also collapsed, and in business also he was making loss. So he was facing challenges in all the fronts, and yet he, during this period from 1938 to 1944, he was pushing so much to the business in Kolkata, but ultimately it collapsed. And during these times only, he continued his spiritual activity of writing commentary to Bhagavad Gita. And he finished it in almost like 10 years, and he used to keep it in his cupboard. And he was looking for a person who could help him publish. And eventually one person from South, Dr. Alagappa, he agreed to publish it. But when Srila Prabhupada came to get the manuscript, he was so happy that now it will actually see the day of light of the day, sorry. So, but when he came to the cupboard, he saw that the manuscripts were all missing. And he was very disappointed. But yet he was not discouraged, because immediately he again started to translate Bhagavad Gita again. And this is the time when first time Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur came to his dream and asked him to take sannyas. So Abhay Charan Das, at that time, he was startled, and he got up and he felt, oh, I cannot take sannyas. I have a family, I have responsibility, I cannot do this. And later in 1977, Srila Prabhupada recollects in one of the lecture that when the time my Guru Maharaj asked me to take sannyas, but I couldn't because I was in Maya. And we know that Srila Prabhupada, he is such a pure devotee, how he can be in Maya? He was actually fully committed to the preaching service given to him by his spiritual master. But out of humility, he was expressing his inability. And then he made a fourth attempt. He shifted now to Lucknow, and he made an ambitious investment of over 40,000 at that time. And he was trying to establish his business, and on the other hand, he was also writing letters to the leaders of India, because at that time it was, India had got independence. He used to write letters to the Prime Minister, the Education Minister, the Finance Minister, the President, everyone, and ask them to chant Hare Krishna and join the Sankirtan movement for world peace. But then, at that time, there was also a newspaper ad from the Ford's Motors in Detroit that they wanted to have a meeting to improve the motivational level of his employees, their employees. And at that time, Srila Prabhupada, he took the effort, he wrote a long letter to the director over there saying that I have the solution to your motivational issue of your staff. Please engage in the Sankirtan movement. And with so much of earnestness and conviction, Prabhupada was engaging in preaching activity. It was never dissuaded. But again, as time will have Lord's desire, the fourth attempt also did not succeed in Lucknow. And then when he came back to his home in Kolkata, at that time, his wife was busy drinking tea. And so he became so disturbed. He said, do you want me or tea? And she actually expressed that she wanted tea. And then, so that again was a big shock for Srila Prabhupada. So he was facing so many challenges both in the home front, in the business, yet again, because he was a committed and responsible grahastha, and to make, he tried a fifth attempt to set up a business in Prayag. And for that, he took a loan of 7,000, and he meets Reva Shankar Behal and Prabhakar Mishra in Jhansi. During the course of his business, he went to Jhansi, but there again, he was focusing on preaching. He was enthusiastic about that. And he got connection with Bharati Vidya Bhavan over there, and he was assured that, okay, you can do your preaching activities. He became very enthusiastic. But then, again, even in the preaching front also, he faced challenges. As there were the governor's wife, Mrs. Munshi, she was keen that this place, instead of using it for Krishna consciousness, she wanted to have programs of Mahila Sangh over there. And so in this way, he was forced to quit from the Bharati Vidyavan prospects. And later, he gets a letter from his servant saying that his business in Prayag has been burglarized. And the entire, whatever he had set up, the entire business, the machinery and in fact, even the tables and chairs, everything was looted by the people. And this was the time when Srila Prabhupada, he actually laughed, remembering the verse, Yasyaham anughrannani harishye tadhanam sanai. And so the fifth attempt was also foiled. And earlier there were losses, now the entire business was lost. And so now Prabhupada, he again comes back to Kolkata. So this is the fifth time, and now he again wants to come, and he in Kolkata, and he starts another company by the name Vimla Tone Laboratory. And he got it listed in the stock exchange also. But still the losses continued, and the only shelter which Prabhupada had was to take shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam. And one day when he came back to home, at that time he saw that the Bhagavatam books were missing, because his wife had sold it off to buy some tea and biscuits. And so Prabhupada actually became very angry, and he said, I am leaving. So his wife and children, they thought, okay, he's leaving for some time and he will be coming back. Or maybe he will go for some of his business services. But it was not that to happen. So Prabhupada left for good. And actually the neighbors and also, they were all thinking that, okay, he has gone for some business visit and he will be coming back. But Prabhupada actually had no money with him. So he went to one of his friends and he borrowed 10 rupees. And from there he went to Jajigram. And at Jajigram, one of his god brothers, Paramahamsa Maharaj, he had a mutt. And there he sat full day only chanting the names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And so, as we are running short of time, so if you would like to hear more in detail, I would request you should listen to Braj Bihari Prabhu's class. But eventually, he begged for a pair of dhoti and kurta from Maharaj, and so that he could do the preaching activity. So although he was facing so many challenges, yet his desire for preaching, to do service for his Guru and Krishna, that was not deterred. And then eventually he, of course, faced many challenges in his preaching activities in India, and eventually that forced Srila Prabhupada then to leave for Boston and to America, and then he was able to set up this entire institution of ISKCON, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And because of that, now we have all come over here, and we are here in this process of devotional service. And just like as Prabhupada is saying, so Prabhupada in his family also, he had 8 children, 3 of whom died during birth itself. So of the 5 children also, no one was supportive. Only the youngest child, he was appreciative of his efforts. But here we can see that As Srila Prabhupada is saying in the purport, that the Supreme Lord, he actually, he directs the sinless, and the sinless devotee attains the highest perfection of life. Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki. Thank you all very much for your kind, patient hearing. Hare Krishna.